Okay. So the facilitator for today is MD Alamgi Hussein. He was in for the last section on the study and methods in qualitative research. And he is also in the section today to handle this section. He's a qualitative researcher with over a decade of experience in medical anthropology and public health. His expertise includes maternal and child health, gender, mental health, and digital health. He holds an MPH in epidemiology and an MSS in anthropology. So he's currently with the International Center for Diarrheal Disease Research in Bangladesh. He also leads fieldwork planning. He trains new researchers and he contributes to project design, data analysis, and he also does some academic publications. He has over 10 publications and he's a mentor, collaborator that is focused on multiple disciplines and community-centered health research. So I'm looking forward to today's section and discussion and sharing experience and also learning from each and every one of us. Thank you all for joining in.
Now you can see this.
Yes, we can see it. We
Hello.
can see it. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, to join today's session on qualitative methods and tools. And today we will talk about what kind of qualitative methods and tools are used in qualitative research. I think most of you are here using this kind of qualitative methods and tools. Some of are very familiar on it and some use lots of it. I just talking about some of claims today about this. So I am Mohammad Alamgir Hussain, working in ICT as a research officer. Okay, sorry. At first, I like to discuss about the data collection methods. So, in practically, in qualitative research, there are few research types of methods are applied in qualitative research, such as observations, document review, interviews. If we could say that in observation, there are different kinds of observation. There are some are highly involvement, that is called participatory observation. Some are very low involvement. It can be non-participatory observation. Some are structural, some structure, some are semi-structural observation. There are different kinds of observation here. But as a whole, the observation also a method. It's like I am observing someone to understand their behavior, to understand, to implement or the human behavior. And sometimes we use document review, such as reports, journal, articles, books, and lots of things we can use. And there are also different kinds of document we are reviewing before to conducting any research. And there are several types of interviews. There are some are in-depth interview, informal interview, focus group discussion, informal interview, and lots of them. In observation, that describe the setting, and here we can give the first-hand experiences. And usually we use this to normally taken for granted or easily people are not speaking about. So sometimes if we are going to ask our respondent about their behavior, uh, if we can ask if about on our medication, then behavior practice on medication. So we can see that they also say, yes, we all are trying taking intake medicine all the timely manner. But if we can see to that human behavior, sometimes they forget about to take timely medication. If we say if the physician prescribed to take medicine in um, one dose in morning, one dose in afternoon, and another one at evening. Then people may miss some of them. Then the health condition may not improve. So to understand the people's behavior and to implement the actual performance of human, then we can process this. And it also identify the areas of strength of weakness. Why some people are forgetful about to take some medicine or not, and that kind of behavior or practice can give some our strength to implement something uh, from health perspective, and it also informs us for decision and future actions. In document review, we can get the access to important document at the beginning of the study. We can say it can report journals, books, etc. And it also helps the researcher to identify what need to pursue further observation and interviews for implementing a research. If I say that implementing a qualitative research, and it also helps to identify the potential issues and mitigate the risk. Uh, Now we are talking about the different types of interviews. Some are informal conversation. Uh, we can say informal interview. Some are informal interview. Some are open-ended or in-depth interview. Some are fixed response of interviews, those we can say survey. And some are group interviews that focus on group discussion as well. And in interviews, what we are getting? In interviews, we are getting the illicit feelings of the respondent and their thoughts, opinion, their previous experiences, and and meaning of that what about the certain events the respondent get experiences. And in depth interview, we can get an we do a conversation on a given topics where we can get very in-depth information and detailed insight and personal thought and perspective. And it also a flexible and structure that human perspective and human behavior, why we are doing some behavior, why we are not doing something. That can be a discussion and a discussion on a given topic that the data are come through from a conversation between the respondent and the interviewers. And from this, the interviewer had to prove the respondents' motivation, feelings, beliefs, insights, perspectives, and lots of things we can gather from the interviews. And that the conversation or interviews flow can be a relaxed and an open environment where a respondent can share their perspective freely, frankly, and without any hesitation. Uh, to it might be it can be the response can be different from the others. However, this should need to provide an entire perspectives to give him chance, give the respondent chance to disclose or to share. And the questions flow asking the question by flow of the conversation, not try stopping the respondent about topic, but need to ensure that the respondent should be on focus on the topics, not the beyond the topics, which we are going to learn, which we are going to take the data from the respondent. So that would be a very good interview if we do that in clearly as a researcher, as a qualitative uh, qualitative researcher and a scientist or a interviewer. That would be a good uh, capacity to understand the topics clearly and make the respondent freely to discuss and get more and more data to motivate the respondent to keep them to tell her feelings, his or her feelings or his or her perspective. And in key informant interview that helps to get insight into phenomena and represent the best knowledge of a phenomenon as the as the key informant interviewers or respondent can be considered as a ambassador, and they though the researcher follow a pre-designed format, but however it also need to uh, also need to go on the flow of the conversation with the researcher and the respondent. And and conducting a key informant interview. Before conducting the interview, the researcher and the team decide who will lead the interview and taking the time to outline for a checklist and practicing the interview procedure to build confidence. And the interviewer should be knowledgeable about the subject matter, what they are uh, uh, going to collect the data. And skilled interviewers have some role in that manner, and that they have to find out the gaps, and then that will helps to prove the to prove the questions and from the respondent, and able to identify the inconsistency, contradictions in the information provided and contradiction in relation to other interviews, and then this can also can helps to fill the gaps of the findings and probe carefully for more details and clarification if needed. And they also more on focus of the study topics, then it could be helpful to get more and more rich data. And in focus group discussion, to understand the complex social issues, exploring the diverse perspective, gathering in-depth information within a short time, and identify the pattern in attitude and beliefs, can identify the consensus and disagreement among the among the participants, and can provide quick insights about the nature of social norms, behaviors, and values as well. And before conducting the FGD, the researcher need to take preparation for a productive and insightful session. Then that can for this that they can get insightful reach data by probing or by asking through during the discussion, and develop a clear discussion guideline which can help to find out the gaps and to uh, um, give them some space to get clear understanding as well as researcher and others, and establish a comfortable and safe environment to all uh, uh, And the skill moderators rule are creating a welcoming environment, and the 6 to 10 participant can. Yes, Ugo, you are raising hand.
Yes, I think some participants are complaining that it's the volume is quite low. They can't hear you. Can you increase a bit, please? Thank you. Just the
Oh,
volume. They can't really
sorry.
hear. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah. I think it's a lot better, but they maybe just a little bit increasing your volume. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, but okay. But I lost my screen. Okay. Sorry for the inconsistency.
It's
Okay.
all right.
Uh, uh, the session should the discussion session should be a welcoming environment, and 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 that the session can 6 to 10 participant is more enough. If we consider more participant, then the session could be a messy. So more or more people can talk. So it is difficult to understand the who's saying what. So in that case, to keep them participate in discussion, but one by one, as we can take notes and record the session. And guiding the moderator also should have a should guiding the conversation and keeping on in track and encouraging to participate in the discussion. Uh, in sampling, now we are going to talking about the sampling procedure of the qualitative study. In our last session, some of our participants are like to discuss on it. But due to our time limitation, we are unable to discuss on it. So this is our time to discuss about uh, uh, why we are considering the sampling in qualitative research. In qualitative research, the sampling usually using for to get more rich data rather than the breadth data. Breadth depth it means why is uh, some it helps to get the deep and deeper net rather than number of participant, rather keep a small number of uh, participant, and from them you can get more insight or more depth information from this uh, to asking the question and by their proving them. So people can get a chance to explain them why they have some sort of behavior and why they are doing such kind of attitude, and they have maybe they have some sort of beliefs. So they which will helps to get in depth information, and it also insight rather than the generalization. And also conceptual rather than numerical consideration, and choose information resides and respondent so people can get. If we said that the target population in the photos in right side, where we can the number of participants we can select very few, and based on the different if we look at the some of based on our basic characteristics. If we look at the green picture where we can found 4 people participant, which indicates that there are basic characteristics: yellow, white, red, black. So, that means their dress up I am talking about. This means these have some sort of characteristics. So this kind of characteristic is individual can get insight from their own experiences and own beliefs of our research interest or research question which we are going to study. Sometimes in common sampling approach, we are using purposive sampling, which is not haphazard. Purposive means that there's a specific purpose on that specific respondent as not if I reach someone and I select him. This is purposive, and I know this. I know what are the purpose are made from those kind of respondents. For example, if I wanted to get data from understand the risk of HIV positive of a female sex partner of HIV positive injecting drug user. So I have to select someone, those who have HIV positive male partner and uh, she and her female sex partner are not know about her HIV positive status. So I am selecting that purpose, that person based on our characteristics on that our study subset. So this purpose also get our understand helps to get their behavior, such as their sexual behavior, how they conducting their sexual behavior, such if you can say, are they using their condom or not? And so this kind of information are of course in natural settings. So our purpose should be in focus. So we are using the purposive sampling. Uh, Similarly, we can also use this, if we can say, if we collect the data for HIV positive. So, um, COVID positive. So we have to select someone, those who have that COVID positive result. And to their to understand that how their behavior pattern. So we have to select we have to very selective on using the purposive sampling, and that helps to get the information based cases. Sometimes we also uh, we also select the information who have that explain their activities in very among the other similar characteristics of performer participants. So this also helps to reach the information cases. And it also the excellent example of phenomena and interest and select people of from the diverse characteristics. There are other sampling procedure also can be used in qualitative research. Mm, Some are convenient, some are stratified, and so on. So now we are considering sample size from as we can data saturations, about the redundancy of the data. If we consider the similar type of more number of participants, then we can get the redundant of data. So we have to uh, choose the diversity of the data. Then we can choose the other characteristic to priority based on their education, based on their sex, based on their uh, locality. So we can learn about that their culture and behavior. And minimal minimum samples for reasonable coverage as we have to focus then and that meets the purpose of the study and the constant of uh, the participants. And we have to ensure the quality and credibility of the quality research depend on a specific research design, such as it can be a phenomenological study, it can be a grounded theory, or it can be a action research or ethnographic study. So every research has different uh, way to ensure the credibility and quality, to selecting the participant and to get the data and way of our uh, uh, mm, to ensure the quality and credibility and clear exposition of data collection and analysis methods. And it also helps to generating and assessing contrast, conclusion, alternative themes, and divergent patterns of the data, and attention to negative cases uh, during the data collection. And in triangulation, we can that helps um, to get also another way of to ensure the credibility and of the data, such as methods. We can triangulate the data using the interviews, observations, and based on review the documents. Primarily, we can get, and it also helps to the source of the data over time and different perspectives. Um, uh, Sources, that means the reviewers and the researchers, those who are that can be engaged in a multiple analysis or it can be good to engage in multiple researcher to get the meaning of the same data. And it can also helps to the theories that can helps to check the is data are matching with the uh, framework we are or conceptual framework or theoretical framework we are planning to at the first end, and or it is different after we are collecting the data. And it also the respondent validation is another way of the credibility and credibility of the qualitative research. That reflexibility is the researcher are considered as a researcher or as a research instrument, and he can find out the gaps and way of getting the data, and uh, also find out the relevance affirms that the existing knowledge what we have and what we have to focus based on the data gaps. So that can helps to get more and more insightful information on this, and generalizable to the similar files settings and similar findings as well. The quality of data requires something that can we have to composition of the groups of the study participants, and the different divergent characteristics of the interviewer, as their number of interviewer can engage to collect the data, as we can also check that are the data are collected well, as the if the if is there any limitation of the to get the data by asking the question as for the asking of the question. And it also helps to it also need to ensure that the field notes for observation and interviews to ensure the data, and also to check the quality of the record with data, and asking the question should ensure that the question should neutral or leading question. So if the flow of the discussion are in natural settings or in a natural way, it can be good to getting the leading question of the data from the respondent. And how now we are talking about the qualitative data analysis, how we can analyze the data. Uh, at first, we have to conduct the interview uh, from the field based on our objectives. With a selected study participant, and based on the specific characteristics of the respondent. And then we can take a note, or we can recordate the data. So after the recording or take notes and the data, then we can uh, uh, prepare a observation note and transcription of the interview, and reading the transcription and observation, after completing the completing the transcription or the interview, then we can starting the data analysis. Then we have to read line by line the interviews to get some key point or key code from the beginning of the analysis, and then we can input into the in vivo or a matrix table, or at the first end based on the data reading and by line. And if we use that in vivo or matrix table in manual data analysis format, then we can code the data in our matrix table or in vivo by reading of the interviews. And based on these data coding and similar findings, we can generate the theme. And based on the different theme of the data, we can interpret uh, uh, the data. And this stage, I am personally flowing into analysis in qualitative research, and in some this this stage are follow. I usually followed, and from my papers, I keep this from my paper. Mm. And this is the how we can transcript that actual data from the audio recording, and transcript sequentially as per guideline, keep word from, and we also generate the verbatim. Uh, and it also, the data analysis states have some iterative process, and we have to read the data and reading and reading and displaying the theme to generate the to generate our to see the pattern of the main point of the data. And in interpretation, we search the core meaning of the thoughts and the feelings of the human behaviors, and explain how we study question or answers there, and explain what findings mean beyond the context in from the study participants. And we also identify the pattern themes, how these are pattern, do the theme occur in all or some of the data, are the relationship between the themes, and are there any contradictory of the response, and are there any gaps of understanding. In coding, there are no standard rules how to code are emergent or both emerge. Usually it insert codes level into the margin, building things related to files, and identify sub things and explore them in greater depth. And in displaying the data, capture the variation of richness of these themes, no difference between the individual and subgroups, return to the data and examine evidence that subgroup is something. And in data reduction, uh, we can get the overall sense of the data and decided main and subthemes and separate essential for essential data and data redundant data, and also we can visualize the data using the matrix and diagram. And in interpreting the identify the core meaning of data, capability of attributing meaning consistent with the data collected based on our objective and verified with the diversity of respondent and of the study method, and present the multiple perspectives of the data. And this is what it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alamgi. This it's been a wonderful presentation today. Can you hear me? Confirm you can hear me, please. Okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think this is time for us to have a follow-up questions or discussions, and probably have a little bit of hands-on demo on like we discussed about maybe coding, depending on what the participants would like to be addressed. But before then, we already have some questions rolling in. We have a question from I think that's Charles. He's asking if we can have, give me a minute, I need to pick the question. So he's asking if you can punctuate this with personal experiences. And then he asked again, for these on quality of data, is it before the actual data is collected? And how can you assess quality after collecting data for credibility? Does
Who
it
is
have to
question?
do with
Sorry,
that's
sorry. Who is
that's
question?
Charles. Can you see it? That's Charles.
Charles.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, Charles Kilinji,
Yes.
for the quality of
Yes.
data before the actual data is collected, how can we
Exactly.
assess quality after collecting data for credibility? Does it have to do with data processing and handling? Uh, it is quite difficult, or however, we can get the data. Well, we can ensure how we can get the quality of the data, that we can get some beforehand based on our document review. If we can review the document from the similar types of studies, those implemented in elsewhere, then we can get some insights, then how they use their methodologies, and they can use their quality and the credibility of this study, then we can get insights from this. And usually this can credibility that ensure based on the to ensure how can you assess quality after collecting data for credibility. Uh, this credibility is if we meet the all kind of responses from the if you do not have any gaps to answer all this question, that can ensure this kind of data. This kind of data can ensure this credibility of to represent of the true meaning of the study objectives. So thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any addition to, does it have to do with data processing and handling?
Data processing, it's depend if you based on it's depend of you, because data processing and handling depends of the researchers. Then they are good. Usually, if we look at the, I can share you the slide. Okay. Mm, mm. Can you see this? My Ugo, can you see
Yes, I can
my?
see your screen. Please go on.
Oh, okay, okay. In that, if you following the stage or steps very clearly, then you can handle the data. Those those of the response are you are based on your objective you are wanted to know, then you can keep in this in data coding. And those who are not relevant to your study, that also can automatically return. So that is that is a very much easy process to handling the quality data. And those who are emerging the meaning of your study meaning, so easily you can display the data. Those who are not relevant to your findings, or those who already have known uh, in your study, or in your study, then those can include in this data, and others are you can return it, that which is truly represent your culture, or truly represent your socio-cultural background as well. So this is not much very confusing issues to handling quality data, but you have to focus on how you can use those based on your objectives. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. For me, I want to add, for me, when collecting data, but I've applied that in literature reviews. When I want to assess the quality of data, I've used some tools like critical appraisal tools to be able to, but that's to do with secondary data. So I think we may also need some contributions on appraising qualitative data based on data collected primarily. I think that's part of the question that Dr. Charles is asking. So we may have some kind of contribution, but what you've said also is, I don't know if it has also cleared Charles' questions. Please confirm if you have anything that you are not very cleared with. I don't know if Charles, you can hear me. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm listening in. I'm watching attentively. And thank you for organizing this.
Thank you. Please
So
go on.
do you have any input?
And another question is from Dr. Mansour Ali. He said, please explain the difference between content analysis and thematic analysis.
Content, practically I am not applied any content analysis. Usually I am doing thematic analysis. However, I read a few articles on content analysis. This means that the same and similar questions are need to be asked the all respondent, and then you can mark on those responses, and based on the respondent, you can give them a smaller percentage of this response on it. Such as few people says, or few respondent on this, most of the respondent are says. But in thematic analysis, we can say that this are happened for him, and this also not happened in others due to this reason. So mainly the basic differences are the two thematic analysis are applied to explain the problem or explain the issues or social meanings uh, compared to the content analysis, uh, as per my understanding. As I'm not practically, I'm not doing any content analysis.
Yeah,
So
I think
if anyone have that experience, we can share their experiences in using their content analysis, the purpose of this. But I have
Yeah, I think you're right. The most in most situations we apply the thematic analysis, but sometimes there are cases that will also some studies that will demand the content analysis, and the only time I've had to use content analysis was to analyze an interview. Yeah, that was an interview. This was interview from two different newspapers. This has to do with different issues raised about a particular incident. For example, when there was riot in 2024 in the UK, the differences in the results or the news information given by maybe CNN and then maybe BBC. I think that's an example of the content that we are looking at. So I'm just giving like a layman explanation so that every early career researcher or student that has joined us will be able to understand them without be able to understand it from his or her own explanation before you can actually go further to read. But I'm just giving this explanation because that's based on what I understand on the content analysis. But in most cases, we try to apply thematic analysis. So the content here now, we are looking at, just like I've said, the riots, the content that has been reported by CNN and the one that has been reported by BBC. And then they can all be narrowed down to the themes. So I don't know if I've made myself clear. Dr. Mansour, if you have something else to add, please, I will all be happy to learn from you too. Thank you.
Can I add something small?
Please go on.
Yes.
We are all here to learn. Please go on.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah, content analysis can also normally be applied, especially if you are dealing with pictures or observations where you the primary source of the kind of content which is not normally visible by each and everyone. So you are the source of the content, you are the one creating content, you are the one trying to understand from your own perspective what kind of impression, what kind of picture, what kind of image, what kind of observations might be attributed to this kind of scene. It can be, for instance, a scene in a movie, it can be a video. What is it trying to portray? What kind of content is coming out? And you attach content and you explain it, you justify it basing on what you're actually observing or what your perception tells you to do. What is very interesting with content analysis, unlike thematic analysis is always well documented, and therefore anyone who can read most likely come up with a similar perception. The difference might be in terms of generating codes, but even the kind of message in the codes might be a little bit similar because the information is well written down. But content analysis becomes very interesting because you can come up with some kind of audio visual, some kind of expression which is a little bit unique. The question is what kind of story might be behind a certain kind of happening. For instance, you have talked of the riots. You know, if you are not reading the newspaper or if you're not reading the news, if you are only watching the video, can you make sense of the content that is being portrayed? Can you go behind the curtains of what might be, and you clearly give your justification? If you look at some of the pictures, they are very interesting pictures where, for instance, you can look at both sides, you know. I don't know whether you have ever seen a picture of maybe a lion, you know, lifting its cub, you know. If you looked at it from one side, you might think that the lion is trying to injure, you know, or it might sort of injure the cub. But, you know, on the other side, the lion is actually trying to assist the baby, maybe carry it from one position to the other, or it's a little bit weak, or it is injured, or it is lame. So the question is, can you say something about the kind of content, the kind of, so you can generate the content out of listening, out of observing, but clearly giving out your own perception with a clear justification, and it becomes very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I
Yes,
think this is a
lots of
bit more, yeah, more expanded. Yeah, thank you so much. We have another question from Revocatus. I hope I pronounced that right. I could not get you on the concept of data saturation. Please, do you have anything to show on that, please? Alamgi.
Which question? Content, sorry.
No, concept of data saturation.
Okay. The concept of data saturation, that means that we are going to field to collect the data as if we think that our objectives are met, we are not getting no new information from the respondent, then that means that our data are saturated. So for the data, to understand how we can ensure that we do not get our new findings in the field when we are collecting the data and we are conducting the interview. So for this, we have to make a few key findings of the each interview after we conducted. So based on these key findings, we have to find the gaps that okay, now we have these gaps. We have to conduct one more interview to understand these gaps, why that is are happening. So one by one, those gaps are fill-ups, and when those gaps are fill-ups, then we can say that data are well saturated, and no divergent or no data are emerge from the field or from the respondent from the different characteristics. So that is the way we can we ensure that data saturation.
All right. Thank you. The time, we are running out of time from my observation.
Can I just add on
and
something
we've
very
had
small on data saturation?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Can I just add on
Yes.
something small on data saturation?
Yes, please.
Yeah, of course, there is a very interesting ongoing debate, especially in the scholars community, whether to saturate or not to saturate. And the conditions are really very clear. There are some scholars who believe that, yes, you can reach a point where you realize that you can no longer get any new information, and therefore you have reached what they call a saturation point. However, in real life situations, there are instances where you may not really saturate, especially if you are, for instance, collecting data in different regions. You know, if you are, for instance, in the north, you are collecting data in the south, you are collecting data in the West or in the East, the conditions might be a little bit different, and therefore you reach saturation point differently. I don't know whether you get what I'm trying to say. And this is something that I experienced, which was very interesting. And I remember arguing that, look here, whereas most scholars think that saturation is when you reach that point where you think there is no new information. However, when the geographic demographics are a little bit different in each of the regions, you reach saturation at different points, at different level of interviews. Occasionally here you can reach at maybe 5, in other areas at 13. And so saturation can actually be at different stages depending on the characteristics and the geographical regions where you are collecting the data, or the nature of the interviewees, you are getting data from. Thank you.
Yes, Charles, well explained, because if we can say that our data can saturated. If we say in Bangladesh context, then we have that. And if we have multi-country study, then different country have that different cultural perspective and different social values, and respondent have different experiences based on their thoughts and perspectives. So in each cultures may have different way. If we can say, if we are going to study on a single culture, on single country, as I said, or single region, then based on this way of methods, way of questions, guidelines, and then we can ensure that data are well saturated or not. If we have multiple team or multiple countries, then we have to definitely need to ensure that the different saturation point are different from each others. So in that case, then the different the enter team, or if I say it, the main team. If I say that if we have in Africa, South Africa is country, have one team, and if I say Bangladesh have another team. So this two team has similar, have different data saturation point for their country perspective, and then based on then this analysis could go through that explain that based on their country perspective or cultural perspective. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at if we should go on, because the time, we've exhausted our 1 hour that we actually expected, and we have lots of questions left. We have the next question. Should I go on with the questions, please, Dr. Alamgi?
Okay.
Yeah, we have why a focus group discussion participant needs to have diverse characteristics when it's recommended to have participants with homogeneous characteristics. That's from Eja Khan. And another question, I think, is also part of a focus group discussion. Says, how many is the role of the underlining, how important is the role of the underlining theoretical framework for focus group discussions, in-depth interviews, and yes, please go on. Do you see the question?
In my focus group discussion, diverse perspective, we can get the diverse perspective, not the diverse characteristics. Yes, diverse characteristics of the different focus group discussion. If I say, then if we going to understand the maternal immunization practice or behavior, then we have to we may conduct the interview with the pregnant women, and we can conduct an interview with the husbands, and as well as also with the father-in-laws and mother-in-laws. So different to get the different perspective, we can conduct the interview. But if remember this, we have to a similar kind of perspective respondent. For example, if we select the pregnant woman, then all respondents should be pregnant women, and if we choose husbands, then all our respondents should be the husbands of a pregnant woman. Not if we are not keeping them husbands, wives, the father-in-law, mother-in-law in one group. As if we keep them in one group, then they are not talking about their issues. That it may have the family have some any conflicting issues, so such as to get the permission from to get the maternal immunization. So they may have not disclose it in front of them because they have that we can create some conflict among them during that session. So we are not going. We have that diverse to get the diverse participant, but in a group of similar types of respondent. Is it clear?
Yes, I think you're clear. Your point is in line. The next question was about theoretical framework, using focus group, in-depth discussions,
How
and
important is
what
the
was the
role of the
last part?
under a theoretical framework? Actually, theoretical framework are also it is important to understand this. Understand that are the data follow this they follow this way, or it can make some different theoretical framework or create or emerge into a new theory. So that can helpful to keep that follow the theoretical framework. That we can come to conclusion that human behavior, why some people behaviors are following as per as the theoretical framework as we are going to to conducting the studies, or it also create any theories. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Dr. Charles also wants to know you get me. Alangi, please confirm. Did you get the question?
Dr. Charles, which particular paper inform your critical step? Those one? I am.
No, the
Uh,
one that is talking about to saturate or not to saturate. What's your experiences on this? Do you see it?
Yes. To saturate or not saturate, what is your experience on this? On this, that means who is that I given some example on in my earlier discussion on data saturation. I am not clear about that his question about because to saturate or not saturate, what your experience on this? On this, what does it mean? Can you explain, please? So sorry, I actually didn't get your question.
Yeah,
Dr.
I
Charles,
think you're
please.
right. Dr. Charles, can you please
No, I
give
think
more?
we
Yeah.
just discussed that along the way. We just discussed when to saturate and the instances where not when to saturate, especially if you are collecting data from different regions. We had a
Okay.
discussion about that. Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
Thank
I
you so
thought that
much.
also discuss.
Yes, we have a question about Vivo. I just want to let the participants understand that we have a section that will be handled, that you will be handling in August, and is about Vivo. So I think the question was about Vivo 12, and the other person asked about Vivo or license, so that I can practice. We have another section in August, and that will be taken by Alamgi, and is about Vivo. So I think we may not be addressing this, but just to let us know that we'll have a section coming up about Vivo in the meantime. Yes. And then the next question is, please explain when and why we select unstructured, structured, or semi-structured interviews.
Structured interview usually are usually used in survey or any quantitative studies. Usually in qualitative research, we usually use unstructured interview. Usually we use unstructured interview as we don't know that the respondent could go with some diverse experiences which we are not which we have not any idea or we do not have any plan. So we are usually following the unstructured, or sometimes we are using some semi-structured interview that we can keep a guideline on our hand that we can find out the gaps and we can keep flow the questions during that interview. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you've answered one of the questions by Dr. Charles. I don't know if you need any more explanation. You asked about thematic analysis steps. Alamgi has used in publication. So I think I've seen a link to the publication. I don't know, Dr. Charles, will you need any more ideas based on that? Or do you need us to move on? I don't know. Thank you.
No, not really. Just out of preference, some researchers tend to favor some thematic analysis steps. For instance, you can think of Breyer and Clark, 2006 thematic analysis, one of the most favored ones. Others are present using, for instance, Denver and Cranfield 2009, DRR. So it really depends on the researcher. There is a tendency to prefer some over the other. So I just wanted to hear his preference and maybe the opinions. Probably we can be wooed to move from one to the other. Sometimes if you haven't tried some other steps, you might think you are doing it the best, not until you realize that actually there are better steps or there are much faster steps. That is the kind of opinion I had in my mind.
Yes.
Yeah, so Alamki, I think you may need to throw light just for us to have an experience of what it's been like for you to have to use data analysis and your steps that you always use to follow. Yeah.
I usually in a broad sense, I usually those steps, but it's have sometimes in some results have some difference way of analysis. So I just mentioning that in that session, I use these steps in one of my paper, which I shared the link in the based on the comments of the Charles. So if you have any suggestions or have any discussion, then we can discuss later or personally if we can. Or if Dr. Charles have any feedback, so we can communicate to So I share my paper link in the chat box. So
All right, so moving on. The next question is asking how you use a non-verbal communication during interview for in analysis.
non-verbal communication are we are using to get in our when we are ensuring that our data trustworthiness and quality in methodology, we can discuss on it how that the people respondent are their verbal and non-verbal communications are we can get in usually we discuss it in reflexibility of the research. Then we can use this how does this human behavior and non-verbal behaviors we can get in usually in methodology, or sometimes you can say if we get the different response from the respondent, then you can use it in ethics as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I will add it depends on the research objectives as well. And then if the research also includes observation, because sometimes you wouldn't want to have an issue including some nonverbal communication that actually does not apply to your objective. So I don't think, sorry, I don't know if I'm making a clear explanation here, because from what you are explaining, this is an interview, and then you also need to think about ethics. So if you have to put in nonverbal communication while your objective is basically about the interview itself, the quality or the content of the interview, then you also have to think about the ethics, the ethical approval that you've gotten for that particular research. So I don't know if I've explained to the best of my knowledge. Thank you.
In addition, I would like to for non-verbal communication when we using the code, that means quotation. Here we can include in using the non-verbal communication as well. If someone, if the respondent are going to crying, or if someone are laughing about some of the responses, then we can get some insights about that, that we can keep we using this those in keeping in bracket of the quotation in some when we are using the quotation. Joseph's have some response, I think.
All right. The next question I can see is about should we identify the themes, sub-themes before the collection, the data collection, or let the themes emerge and organize them later? Which one is recommended? Do you see the question?
Yes, should we identify the themes and sub-themes should before the data collection? How we can actually we can give some make some point, but not it's a theme or sub-theme because that the themes should emerge from the data. I think it is very realistic and authentic. Otherwise, you can keep some key points of the data, then those who we are going to looking for. But when we are after analyze when during our we are going to analyzing the data, then we can keep in theme or something should emerge. Theme or something theme and sub-theme should emerge from the data.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That I was also going to add to that, because it's usually when you have a deductive or inductive approach to the data that you are already intending to collect before the collection, that you can think about the themes and the sub-themes. But your themes should emerge before from the data, not you having, that means you're going to put in your bias as a researcher. So I don't know if that's clear. Edges, you ask for recommendations. So I think this is a kind of recommendation from from Alamki. Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Mars also added here, they said you collect your data first before you think about making things. Another questions we have, is there any cost-effective is there any cost-effective for non-manual qualitative analysis? That's from Ngozi. I think she's asking, is there any cost effect? Yes, but I think that's what she means from manual qualitative analysis, for you to manually qualitative. I think I'll just answer this, because it has to do when you have to use tools like Vivo, or you use tools like Atlas and ATLAS.ti. It all involves money. You should be able to subscribe to this tool. So when you manually analyze data, you know the difference, because apart from, like me, sometimes I used a pre designed coded book, like a coding book. I have a pre-designed one. I think I got that from my lecturer when I was doing analyzing qualitative data. So that's my own manual. Then I can also use Excel. But when you want to have to use non-manual, you know that it definitely has to involve money. And some other thing I have tried to do was to print the data off the screen and then use my hands to manually pick things to manually analyze the data. So I don't know if that question is cleared for you, Ngozi. The next
Okay, I'm
question we
here.
have, yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay, my name is Ngozi Joe, and I asked that question because of we are in a research or resource constrained areas, and being in a resource constrained area, we're thinking about cost. And for so many institutions, not being able to subscribe to NVivo or ATLAS. So I wanted to know, is there any way that one can work around it? Because if you're doing work that involves so much verbal activities, for you to manually analyze it is something that takes time. I was the one that asked that question. Yeah. So beside the manual analysis for us in resource constrained area, is there any way we can circumvent like NVivo or Atlas if our institution does not subscribe to it? I just wanted to know your experience, but you've said that you still do manual.
So can I just say something about that?
Please go ahead.
Okay,
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly as PhD students, let me first use that perspective. Of course, normally the PhD students are such constrained, and sometimes these softwares are a little bit exorbitant, a little bit costly, and subscribing is never a very good option. But there is always a way out of that. First, these softwares actually give students versions. Are you aware of that? And these students versions sometimes last for 1 month, or last for instance, a week. So what I normally advise is that once you are ready with your data, now if you are done with the data collection and you just make a simple request, or sometimes you just go to the website and you register with your student email. By student email, I mean the institutional email, and it automatically gives you a free way. You register as a student for maybe a 1-month trial. They are called trial versions. And myself, I remember I had a very interesting experience. I juggled out. I would somehow write to these the owners of these softwares, and I tell them, look here. I would persuasively introduce myself to them, and I tell them, look here, I am a student from Sub-Saharan Africa, and as you are aware, students in Sub-Saharan Africa are resource constrained, and yet at such a time of data analysis, they need to, do this with the number of software. So in the event that I cannot raise this kind of required amount, can you give me a subscription maybe for a year, and I go through my data analysis phase, and maybe I intend to promote your software, and very persuasive emails. And they actually used to give me all these privileges. They would give me 2-year licenses. I remember getting 2-year licenses for ATLAS free of charge. I got a 2-year license for Smart PLS, free of charge. So it really depends on how organized your mental faculties are in terms of maneuvering around. It is possible. It is possible. Just find a way of introducing yourself in a very smart way to the software owners. They can always give you an opportunity, and they give you a free license. If not, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for this input, because I never knew about.
Good,
I trained in a place where I had to use NVivo. So thinking of as a
Now I have
qualitative
opened your
researcher,
eyes.
thinking of going
Yes.
forward to do. Yeah, you've really opened. What's your email?
Yes.
What's your name?
Yeah.
Can we get your email for further collaboration?
Yeah,
I can
sure. My
always
name
share
is
my
Charles
email on
Kalinzi.
the on. Yeah, I can share
Yeah.
my email. Let me share my email on the stuff.
Mm.
Then somebody asked a question about team. One thing about qualitative analysis, even if you work from your objectives, you have to get your teams and sub teams from from your from your data. I used narratives and pictures. I know somebody was talking about non-verbal. So I used pictures. My participants went out in the field and took pictures to express their voices on their experiences concerning an issue. And I analyzed both the images and also their narratives. So, but I use NVivo. So, based on reach and relevance, I want to duplicate such study in my country, Nigeria, and just thinking about using manual to analyze it. But thank you. Was that Mr. Charles? Okay, Mr. Charles, thank you again for
that
this,
was
because
Mr.
this
Charles.
was my main reason. Okay, this was my main reason for coming in here to ask this question. I've noted your
I am glad you have been
email
answered.
and organize that. Yes,
Yeah,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
That
you.
is spot.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my own. Ugo, please, I'm going to share my email so that I
All
can
right.
get the message, because I wasn't here earlier. I came in late. I'm so sorry for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. We are glad that you joined in. It's very important to us to have participants here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Charles. Yeah. I think we've really exhausted our time. We've had some messages. I think we'll have to address that later. Sorry, we had some questions about validity, and we also asked some question about practical sections on enhanced tools. We have an enhanced tools next section in July. That's on the 25th of July, and that's about ATLAS.ti. That's coming in on the 25th of July by another facilitator. We also have another information question about best sampling technique in qualitative research. We will not be addressing, I'm very sorry, we'll not be addressing any more questions. We just need some time for
Okay,
hashtag.
Ugo,
Will you be able to?
Ugo, just give me 30 seconds, then that question should need to address as what kind of sampling we are using in quality research. That we're using the purposive sampling, snowballing sampling, and convenient sampling. So those I am not going to in details. And there are lots of more kind of sampling we are using in quality research, but most usually we're using this kind of sampling procedure. So okay, hand over to it. Ogo.
The other question was talking about tools. I remember saying something about you using an in vivo to teach us to use in vivo in your next section. And then another section we have about ATLAS.ti. I think that's been settled. I don't see any more questions. I wanted us to ask, okay, validity of the quality of data. Yeah, I see another one. I
So
think
should
we've
I
just handled that. Yes, validity of the quality of data.
okay, if actually if data truly represent the truly represent the people or to represent the culture, that also the validated. If data meaning those are not meaning to a very different one as usual human behavior or practice, that can also validated from our side. So we have lots of way we can validate the data as based on our actually this also validated if we can ensure we can say this if that meaning are truly represent the community. So best way to validate the data as if I say it is very simply.
Yeah, thank you. We just missed a question, and I think he has. Oh, I'm so sorry, John Paul Ilu. He asked the question again. He's wanted to know how relevant is a qualitative data analysis to researchers in engineering. I think you'll be able to handle.
So if you are there are lots of way you can use in qualitative research. So how relevant is qualitative data analysis to research? Not the qualitative research is not only in health issues, not only in engineering issues, or there are lots of issues, but the procedure are the same. The way of data analysis or way of data collection are the same. It can be you can use as Dr. Charles and Dogo discussed earlier. You can use photos, videos, or conversations, audios, images. There you can use this, but you have to any specific research questions to using the engineering. If you can engineering in design of a house then why we different people are using designing such kind of design? So you can link with the design anthropology on quality research in design. So you can use we are discussing the methods. So if you follow the methods that you can apply it in any field.
One thing about qualitative research is that qualitative research is exploratory. It gives you an idea, just like we said, if you're thinking about a house, you get people's experiences, the house, and the whys. And from there, because one thing about research is that you can decide to have a mixed method research. So most people start with qualitative, then go to quantitative and bring it all together. Or you can start with qualitative and now go to your qualitative. So qualitative research is virtually used in every discipline. It is for most researchers, they are comfortable with it. You get people's experiences, people's ideas, people's opinion concerning an issue before you can now be able to help you. All that they've told you, you can now use it to design your survey, the survey that you want to work with. And for engineering, you use designs in engineering. Like I said earlier, in my own work, I used images. So design is also an image that you can use and analyze based on the teams and the sub teams that you get, and you take it from there to your next level, maybe for your data, for your numeric data. Thank you.
Can I just add on something small to John Paul's question?
Yes, please
Yeah.
go on, Dr. Charles, please go on.
John is asking how relevant is qualitative data analysis to researchers in engineering. You know, I am basically a mixed methods researcher, and I at first was actually a positivistic researcher, given my mathematical background, and over time I am switching over to qualitative research because it's really very interesting. But John will realize, just like the rest of the members here, that in engineering we basically use numbers, and the question is. So what, beyond numbers, you cannot really discuss much beyond numbers. So what qualitative research does is that it goes beyond the numbers, it goes beyond numbers and figures, and it puts an interpretation beyond the numbers, because the question is, so what? When you get this, the question is, so what? So it brings in this subjective opinions, how different people can interpret these numbers depending on their own interest, because numbers might not mean the same thing. So yes, we go with the numbers, but behind numbers, they are personal subjective opinions that make sense out of these numbers. When you, for instance, come up with, or if you are researching about children, children below the age of this, the question is, yes, you can do all sorts of mathematical analysis and you get the numbers, but the numbers don't explain the opinions of the people. And the qualitative research comes in to bridge that kind of perceptions, to add like meat and bones and meat, to add flesh to the bones. That is what qualitative research does. It brings in these subjective opinions to go an extra mile to explain what these numbers can actually do in order to be appreciated by the community, by the society, or to make the numbers much more meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ngozi and Dr. Charles. I believe Tony, no, John was, I believe John, this has also cleared your curiosity. I don't know if you need any more information based on that, because I also learned a lot. I am not a science student. I've always been an arts student, and then I have background in social research. I think this has also given me an idea on engineering and mathematical aspect of data analysis.
Very well. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'll thank you, John. I'll give Ashta some time to speak. We really exhausted our time. I think I should have made it a longer, maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes or more, because everyone has been able to share their experiences. We've gained a lot. We started this basically in Rising Scholars as a community to help early career researcher. And like I said, I am an early career researcher. This was a learning aspect for me. And then I also aimed to reach out to so many other people who may be in my situation as well. Thank you so much. Ashta, please, we just give you about 5 minutes to give us an idea of anything you have for us. Thank you.
Hello. I won't take 5 minutes. Thank you so much, Ugo, for organizing it another successful webinar. And we do have another webinar of this series coming up very soon. So I'd like to see many of you there as well. And thank you so much, our facilitator, Alamgir, for facilitating it very, very well, very informative and exciting discussions today. Thank you so much, everybody who asked the question. And thank you so much, Charles, who is also involved with Authorate as steward for a very long time, for providing other insights. Thank you so much. And yeah, I have already shared some of the links that you might find interesting. Let me paste it again. Sorry about the noise. The plane is flying. Okay, here we go. So, Rising Scholars is very active on LinkedIn, Facebook, where we continuously post our regular updates. Stay connected there to know more about our events. We're also active on YouTube, where we post the recorded sessions, and you will be surprised to find the hub of resources on our YouTube channel. We have a multitude of webinars and tea time with rising scholars, question and answer sessions, and other related recordings there. From quantitative research to qualitative research to time management for early career researchers to managing the travel grant, a lot of the wider aspect of early career researchers' journey. Find it there. We have Google Group Forum, where you can sign up and get and participate in the ongoing discussions on various themes. I would recommend you sign up there. We also have Mentorship Hub, where we will match you with the mentors, and you can also be a mentor and find mentee to guide them throughout the year. We also have the Data Science Hub, and if you are interested to write blogs for rising scholars and share your opinions, insights, and experiences, feel free to do so. I have linked the submission guideline. So upcoming event for July is for the French-speaking scholars. We have French Tea Time with Rising Scholars, and it is on the time management for early career researchers. And we have Getting Started with ATLAS.ti, a hands-on workshop with the same team that we have today, but our facilitator is going to be Lodrick Wabwire Odo. For anybody who is willing to develop their skills on ATLAS.ti for qualitative analysis, feel free to sign up for that event as well. And the link does not work. Okay, are you sure? Let me try it again. It should work. If it does not, I just checked and it works, but then here you go. I hope it works now, and maybe we can take a picture. So for our own memory, and we'll also post this on our social media. So if everyone is all right with it, let's take a picture. And yeah, thank you so much, team, for organizing this wonderful webinar. Shall we wait a minute for everybody to turn on the video, those of you who are interested? Yeah. And you'll find the recording of this session on our YouTube. So stay connected there as well. Subscribe to us. Okay. I think I'll take a picture because we have already exceeded time. So yeah, everybody please smile or anything, your mood. Yeah. Okay, Charles is in New City. It looks very wonderful. Okay, some interesting pose that you know of. Many people like to do this, or this, or this. Okay, interesting pose in 1, 2, 3, and I take a picture here. Okay, so I think we are done. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in, and we look forward to staying connected with you and having you on our other upcoming events. Thank you so much, Ugo, Alamgate, Charles, and everybody for a very interesting discussion today. We'll see you soon within this month. And guys, Ugo is going to be a facilitator of one of our events on August 1st, Tea Time with Rising Scholars. And we will soon be circulating about it on our social media. So yeah, we have not yet set up the registration link, but when we do, the first place you'll find it is on our Google group and LinkedIn. So stay connected. Thank you so much. Ugo, over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashta. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Charles. Dr. Charles is also one of our facilitators for this series. We'll be expecting him in August as well. And thank you, Dr. Thank you, Alamgi. Thank you for so much for this wonderful presentation. We've really taken all our time, but I believe we all learned a lot from being here, and I've learned a lot as well. Thank you, Dr. Mansour. Thank you, Dr. Ngozi. Yeah, I remember. So thank you so much, everyone who contributed, and most especially for being here, because if you're not here, the section will not really happen without our presence. All right. Thank you so much. See you in the next section at tea time. Yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah.